see that.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're here to talk to you about skills that pay the bills. And I know I promised to come back a couple of days ago with my buddy. But today we're here to talk to you about skills. I think right now more than ever, I think people need skills that pay the bills because a lot of people could definitely benefit from new skills, additional skills that are out there available to just acquire if they understood the benefits, the importance of acquiring it, don't you think?
Yeah, and as you were saying that, I was thinking that since I'm working on another project and they asked us about the word that we're working, what's our focus in 2025? And my word was thrive, so
Mm,
we just don't want to just pay the bills, man. We want to just knock out of the ballpark, have investment money, have side girl money, have, new car money, have, whatever, season ticket money. That's what we should be thinking about is that,
do what I want to do, money.
yeah, do what I want to do money. And, so yeah, so when you just said that, I'm thinking like, no, we just don't want to pay the bills. We want to have a lot more to invest and do that. And so, but we'll take the skills up a notch.
That's it. Let's make sure we can pay the bills, right? And then from there, we'll advance to exactly what you're saying, the extras. And every day, we have choices. And I think more people now, with all the technology, we talk about this all the time. There's so many systems, softwares, tools, things that are available for everybody to take advantage of. And it seems like only a handful of people, only a certain, it's almost like the change of, cell phones or computers. And, so many people resisted it and now they're in everybody's hands and in everybody's homes. So the sooner we take advantage of these tools, these opportunities
Mm-hmm.
to improve our skill sets, I think the better, right?
Right. I'm going to do a little housekeeping here real quick. Hold on just 1 second. Oh, come on,
No
you.
problem, man. Do it. Do what you're doing. Do what you're doing.
Well, no, because
But yeah,
I put that green screen on, and so what that means is that since that green screen is on, should
what's
be able to
going
do.
on?
I should be able to do.
Lakshaya. We're just chilling, man, talking about skills that pay the bills tonight. Got my buddy Ricardo on with me. He's out there in El Paso, Danish soccer. What's happening? What's happening? Hope everybody's feeling good tonight. If you guys, are interested in any specific skills, one of the things I was telling Rick yesterday when we were having a conversation, Biggie Cheese, what's happening? When we're having a conversation yesterday is that in 2025, one of my focuses is becoming a resource specialist. And we discussed and we broke it down. We said, what is a resource specialist? What type of skill would they have to have? And it's really simple because if you think of resources, I think I talked about a tool as simple as a calculator the other day, and it made me think of, remember we were on the Zoom the other day, Rick, and they're like, what's a certain percentage of a certain number? And it was like, oh, let's bust out the calculator. It was like before there was a calculator and you had
Yeah, you
just
know,
your
you had
brain.
to do it. Yeah.
You had to know how to do it. Otherwise, but that tool came along, right? And now you could just bust out the calculator. If you don't have one, pull up your phone, pull up your computer. There's a calculator there because they know that people use that tool so often that it's there.
There you go.
So what tool is there that we can take advantage of, right? That we could make as universal as a calculator that everybody needs, that would benefit everybody.
And it's funny you say that because I've been talking with some friends. The same thing is how can we use or maximize AI to do that for us? Because every job has crap work, and AI is good at doing crap work, and we can just do tons of stuff fast. And so there's people out there that are looking for ways to capitalize on that and make programs and software to get that done. But so do you know Biggie Cheese?
These are people that are just jumping in as we're on, man. I'm just making friends every time I go live. I go
Okay, cool.
on and see who hops on, who can hopefully get a little piece and take with them for the next day. You know, so
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
so
know any of these people personally, but they're part of the YouTube family.
all right. So anyway, so yeah, so going back to the skills, um, that to me, I've always been, again, if you have the skills to get the degrees or whatever, and you can get a job, well, that's good for you. But at the end of the day, I don't know too many people that want a job. They want to be more in control. Skills usually come with a job. And I was telling somebody on my live last couple nights ago that a good friend of mine said we need to have three basic skills. One is a technical skill. I mean, you got to learn you got to know how to add, subtract, or be a financial person. You need to be a programmer. You need to be an engineer. You need to have a skill. That's a technical skill. But then you need a business development skill so that you can go out and hunt for your jobs, for your work. And then the last skill that he said that we should have is project management skills, because everything that we do is a project. And you want to finish it, you want to know what the deliverable is, and then you want to work toward the deliverable and treat it like a project, and run everything like a project. So those are two big skills. Again, and everybody's going to have different technical skills. Everybody's going to
Right.
have what they're good at. But what usually happens is that people that get trained with degrees and stuff, they end up not liking that work. They can't find a job, and next thing you know, they're getting a health insurance license or a real estate license because they think they can make money. I mean, that's the first thing that people go through. I'm going to become a real estate agent, and I'm going to become a insurance agent. It
Hey, you
sounds
know what?
glamorous on the outside.
Speaking
Go
of
ahead.
insurance agent, right? When I got my insurance license, one of the things that made me decide, I was going to go get that license was I was just tired of working at that dealership, knowing I could be making more money somewhere else, doing something somewhere else. But I was making good money, to some people's standards, and they would have never left. There's people that there's people that that are still working there now. They were working there before I got there. Right? So that's why skills, I think, are important. If your only skill is to sit at the dealership and that's how you really see yourself, is like, this is the only thing I can do, so I can't leave here because I'm so scared to leave. It's a bad place, I think, to be. And I'm so glad, because it was funny when I got ready to leave. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're gonna be back," and I was like, "All right, that's fine." I just know that I want more and I can do more. So let me leave and go do that. But to be honest with you, when I left, and went to do insurance, in my mind, I thought that I was gonna be able to, as I was working, every client that I brought in, like I went and signed up my mom, I signed up my sister, signed up myself. I was on the book of business. I thought I was going to get residual off of all of these sales because I was building my book within Allstate. Not the case, you know? I was like, oh, I only get this
Yeah,
one time commission.
there's a lot of there's a lot of things that they never tell you when you first start out in that insurance industry. And then you gotta they never tell you that you have to go prospecting. People just aren't knocking down your door to get insurance. And there's 1,000 other insurance agents. And
Exactly.
and so
Live and you
you live and
learn,
you
Mississippi
learn.
woman.
Well, yeah,
This is
no,
true.
because I mean, and what's so funny about it is that we study for the test, we take the test, we get the test, and we get the license, and then go, now what? And and then that now what comes, and your wife or your significant other say, hey, when are you going to bring a paycheck in? you know, how many
See,
how many of those meetings are you going to go to? Um, and oh yeah, there's just a bunch of oh, and
bunch
there's
of unknowns.
yeah, well, there's a stat out there that there's about I think I can't remember what the number was, but there's a big number of people that take their real estate exam, get their license, but never end up selling a house.
This
And
is
so
true.
they and again, it's no fault of their own. It's just you have to be ready to be at that level. You have to be ready to, and you need to have some type of stability, because if you can't pay the bills, then not only do you have the pressure of trying to build a business that takes prospecting and skills and all that, but then you have a wife and you might have a kid. And next thing you know, they're wondering, the birthday, my birthday's coming up. Are we gonna have a party? What are we gonna do? So it just has a lot
Vacation
of
when they get out of school. Everybody else is going here and doing this. What are we
yeah.
doing?
And all that is weighing on you because you're thinking, you're thinking all the time like, well, when am I gonna get my first paycheck? And in sales, there is no paychecks. There's commission checks. And your paycheck is when you get a commission.
You
So
know, it's so funny because that was, it's funny you bring that up because, that was one of my aha moments. Speaking of, live and learning, right? Like Mississippi Woman said, you know, you you go to school and the goal is, hey, get out, get this good job. And I graduated with an accounting degree. Never used it a day in my life, like you're talking about. Some people have their real estate licenses, never used it a day in their life, never sold a house, never earned anything. But that aha moment, like you said, performance based pay structure, a lot of people are scared of. But that was the first thing I did right out of college was a performance based, job.
mhm.
And that taught me like, man, I'm so glad now I look back and I'm like, I'm so glad I had that as my first source of income because it taught me how to just go get it versus have it come to me sitting at a place where it was just set up for business as usual, if you will. You had to go basically hunt and eat what you kill and make your paycheck. But it was
Oh yeah.
exciting too because at the same time, it's like I don't have to depend on somebody telling me how much my paycheck's going to be or how much I'm going to make at the end of the week. I can actually outperform based on me just going out there and doing the work.
Well, and so that's the that's the end goal is to be self-reliant. And it takes a long while to come from a paycheck mentality, every 2 weeks or every Friday to get a check. And then you got to sort of kind of restructure your thinking about, I got to go make my check, and you got to go find those customers. And we talk about the activity all the time. You got to put in the time for the activities. And then when someone does come, you have to discipline yourself to know when. I had a good sales manager one time says, you wear two hats in this business. One, it's your hat's pointing that way, and it's the customer service hat. You're trying to get them you're helping them with a problem they have. And let's just say you're selling cars. They come on the lot, and you talk to them, and yeah, I'm here for a car. And then you guys start going to your head. Well, is it for your wife, your son, your daughter? Who? Oh, it's my daughter. Okay, great. Are you into something that's sporty and fast, or how do you? No, I want her. I want to protect her. I want to make sure that she's got. So you have to go through all these skills.
All the airbags and safety features.
Yeah, I want to know where everything's at because I don't want nothing to happen to her. And then once you go through the requirements of the buyer, then you can turn your hat around, and now it's time to close a deal. Based on what you told me, Mr. Maheji, for your daughter, I think this is the right car because it has 20 airbags, it has machine gun, it has dart throwers.
It's got an alarm system that smells and sniffs criminals from a mile away.
Yeah. And you know what? And we have a special financing deal right now. Let's go ahead and get you started. Here, let's go get let's go to the finance department and work up the paperwork. All right. And then and just take it from there because you gave them, they came in looking and you gave them what they wanted. So
you solved the problem.
You solved their problem.
And that's the big thing. I feel like a lot of people that say that they're going into business or entrepreneurship or whatever it is today aren't necessarily so worried about solving the problem per se. I think it's how can I sell my solution? Whether it works or not, let me just figure out how to sell it to somebody. I'm
playing my phone. Yeah. And that's the other part. So that's why they talk about that. When you're first getting into selling, you want to make a sale. You need money, you want money, and they can tell.
Right. There's that desperation is like it's like a perfume that doesn't smell good.
So the very first time that you ever go selling, you have to at least, you should always have like $100 bill in your pocket or something so that that you have some money in your pocket. Because if you're empty, then they're gonna know that you're empty. And so they're gonna smell desperation. So you have to not be able to care. And that's
right. You can't care about the sale either way. And this is a big lesson, this is a big lesson that I learned, early on in that career doing the promotions, the event-based marketing with Dare and FW1. There's a big difference between sales and marketing.
It is.
And a lot of people don't understand it. I was one of those people. It took me so long to understand because, again, this is my first go round with the performance-based commission structure, whatever you want to call it. And the whole time they kept saying, hey, don't go out here trying to sell. Just use the marketing system and do the job. The product sells itself. You'll be fine. But I'm like, how do I get paid? Well, based on how much you sell. So why are you telling me not to go out here and try to sell this stuff? So that was like the messaging, the way it was presented to me didn't make sense. But as I kept doing it, I understood it from practice, trial and error,
Right. And you hit a good point there, is that all these places that have been successful, there are businesses out there that are open, that haven't closed, they have a system. And they tell you to learn the system and do the system. Don't come up with a Jeffrey system. Don't come up with the Rick system. It's their system. Until you come up with your own company and your business has Jeff Company over the door, Jeffrey, stay focused. the
I'm not coming up with my own system.
yeah, and what'll happen is that you want to try to, and it happens in everything. So even when we do it in our companies, in our side businesses, we always want to do it our way. And so that's where the first part of growth happens. When you don't do it your way, you do it the way that works. And and you don't do it is because it feels different. It's uncomfortable. You've never done it before, and all
Yep.
you do, and when you said something about just go out and sell, you're just basically saying, you're gonna throw up on people and just say, look, buy this from me, buy this from me, buy this from me, and you're gonna become a hounder, and you don't want to become a hounder. And so like they always talk
You're
about
gonna become.
people gotta,
You're gonna be a solutionist,
yeah, people gotta know,
a
like, and trust you
resource
first.
specialist.
You gotta be your expert, you gotta be the guy that knows that, and people notice that if you're trying to make a sale, you're trying to sell the high dollar car. But if you're a professional, no, they don't want a high dollar car. They wanted something for their daughter, so they want something from the used lot. You know, you don't try to put them in
Except,
something they don't want to be in.
right. You got to figure out their needs. It's like it's like they say, if you go to the doctor and he starts trying to prescribe you medication before he's even diagnosed you, you might want to get you a new doctor. But when you when you think about the way people go into business, and I say the way people, because I've done it before, so I know this happens. You're going in, you're not taking any type of account into what the people need, what they're looking for. It's like, oh, I got this great idea. Let me go sell it to the market because it's just this great idea. But it's like, no, they don't need that. No one asks for it. So same thing. You have to ask and figure out what the problem is before you start offering solutions. Which brings me to my next point: communication. I think so many people are scared of communication. Mississippi woman, I appreciate you because she's been communicating here on this live and she's been engaged. Sometimes that's all we want when we jump on live, or we gone into a setting where we're trying to meet and connect, is let's have some engagement. It's like going for a job interview and they're asking you questions and you're like, and not answering. Not saying this is a job interview, but sometimes people are just so frozen up when it comes time to be able to communicate and share ideas and share information when the setting was built for that.
No, and you're right. And so there's a lot of low key flirting. To keep that. Uh,
Go ahead, Rick.
no, I was going to say that a person's mental maturity is what's going to help them figure out how to talk to a but so we talked about communication, and some people don't like to talk to people. And the first thing you got to be able to say is just say hi. My name is, what's your name? What's what my name is, and then once you get to that, when you get past that first part, then you got to ask questions about, how's the weather where you live? What kind of, what do you do? What kind of, what do you do for a living? And and be inquisitive. I didn't know you could do that for a living, And so
how'd you get into that?
Get into that, yeah. So you got to learn all these little lines that can create a conversation, and then and you work on that. But that's a skill that you have to be able to
Absolutely.
you have to be able to start conversations, and then because you can't provide a solution until you get to know the person, and until they get to know you, they won't buy from you. And so
That's 100%. Read, relate, and response, I think, is what one of the things that we used to teach on our little training, because when you're walking up to a random stranger at a gas station, trying to show them a waterless wash and wax, or talking to a stranger that's coming in and out of Walmart, these are hundreds of people a day that you're talking to. You're going to develop a skill and a muscle for just communicating, period. And that comfort zone that a lot of people have, that's like, it's like my comfort zone's this big. Like anything outside of this bubble, I can't do it. It expands to almost where, it's like you're looking for things that make you uncomfortable, because you're so comfortable just doing whatever it is to see what happens, and get that experience. And good, bad, and different, whatever it is, there's a lesson to be learned, I think, in all of our interactions, in person, online, whatever. But not enough people, in my opinion. There's so many people in the world, so many different skill sets, so many unique, talented people, but there's not enough communication. So there's not enough sharing of ideas and things being created.
Well, I will say this though, that you have to be the most creative person you can be. Don't expect that other guy to be creative, because at the end of the day, we know they're not. And so you need to be all the characteristics that you want to work with, because if you can't do it by yourself, then you don't even know what it feels like to be creative, or be a project manager, or be a sales manager, or sell wax. You
You have to put yourself in the experience, you
Yeah.
know and
Mhm.
you have to do it. There's no if, ands, or buts. And that's what I mean. I think so many people just aren't willing, to do the thing, to just, put themselves in that position. It's
Well,
I
but
mean,
you're right, because the only difference between us and anybody else is that we've already taken a chance and we know that we can do it. It wasn't pretty at first, but we took that chance, and like we always talk about scraping our knees, and we went through it. And at the end of the day, the only thing that we have different than anybody else is we have the experience, where other persons
exactly.
might not have experiences. And and so it's just, you and then the faster that you get experiences is the best way to get experience. So a point that I'd like to make all the time is that when I was going to from job to job, I would like to go in and do 90 days full blast, every day, every shift, every situation, because at the end of 90 days, I'll have gone through almost every single experience you can have on that job. And then and that's the first 90 days. Then you need to make it the first year, because you want to see if there's any seasonal or cyclical, ups and downs or different kinds of things. But the first part is you got to just get on, making mistakes, and then uh, try to get all those mistakes out from your system in 90 days. And so, yeah, if anybody's gonna be, that they learn how to get into a learning environment where you get to learn for 90 days. Oh, that is so true. I hate to tell you, Mississippi woman, but tell her, Jeff, I know it all. I know it's true. I know it's true. I know it's true. No, or I wouldn't have said it. Now I gotta put my glasses on. We're playing. Let's see here. Even from a family dynamic, I have doctors in, from a business standpoint. That makes sense. There's no connection from a business standpoint. Well, no, because so when a person wants to become a lawyer, doctor, investor, or whatever, they want to do that thing. That doesn't mean that they know how to do a business. They just know how to do that thing. And so if if they lost it all and they had to go out and spell for the first time, now they may have an upper hand on other people, because they have gone through other challenges. They've probably gone through courses. They've probably gotten educated at a higher level. Um, so they're not going to start. The only thing that's going to hold them back is their ego, because oh no, I'm a doctor. Oh no, I'm a lawyer. Oh no, you know. And if I
Yeah.
said, well, for you to put food on the table, you can't practice medicine because something happened to your hand, or you can't be a
Man,
lawyer because you did something wrong. Then all of a
you
sudden
know,
you got to learn these skills.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, Rick, because here's one thing that I've run across like in the last month or two twice now. And we've actually had a conversation about this, you and I.
Mhm.
Remember we had that conversation about the lady who had to get insurance because her husband retired and she had been under his plan for all these years and has to go to, what was that clinic? The Mayo Clinic.
Mayo Clinic.
And now because the group plan from his employer was what she was under, she's having a hard time. There was no worry about anything until he retired. Now there's this big worry because she needs to have this specific treatment. And you're absolutely right. Sometimes people don't think about, oh, let me get these skills now because I'm not worried about whatever it is, paying the bills or, financial stuff. Let me just invest some time in getting the skills because one day something could happen. So this skill is going to help me do something else, build up another company, and I could be the CFO or whatever because I've actually been the janitor and worked my way up to the position of the CFO. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes we all know that people have been in a position and you're looking at them saying, "Man, I know more about this business than you, even though you are the CEO, CFO, whatever. You might know how to make decisions on a large scale, but I know how the business is actually run because I started at the bottom and now worked my way up to the top. So put me on any station and I could work the fryer, I could do the burgers, I could put the whatever.
And so when you take that attitude of knowing all the job, to me, that puts you in a strong position because you develop power because you have knowledge power of all the other pieces. Anybody else in that job may just know their job, and they don't know anything else. But if something were to happen and that guy got sick or something, and they go, man, I need somebody to help me here. I can do that work. I've been studying it, whatever, and that it just creates opportunities when you are multi-skilled, and know the big picture. I think anybody and everybody should always know the big picture of any business, because you need to know how that business makes a profit, and that way you know how to and what to do for that business. And so,
How you could be an asset, be
yeah,
valuable.
yeah, when you don't restrict yourself in any area of learning, you're right. Because if you do restrict yourself, man, I tell you what. So we go back to those people that are the doctors and lawyers and all that. Those guys have depth of knowledge because they are a doctor, they're CFO, they're a this, they're a that, and their depth of knowledge. They spent their whole life doing that. But when they get a change in their life and they need to go into that next column over here, they can't because they don't have any other skills to move into that column. And so a lot of us, I know that I like to be a breadth of information. I like to go crossways and know a little bit of everything so that I won't be left out and not be able to communicate about a topic or a subject. But yeah, so I don't restrict that's a good point. I don't restrict myself in any area of my learning because I'm always learning for new things. I'm looking at new things. Right now, the big thing is AI. What role can I play in it? Uh, you know, we're at this point of our life, or my life. You know, I have no fear. I don't mind taking chances and looking at stuff and making mistakes. I mean, and get ridiculed by you guys.
Hey,
Because
look,
you know what? You know, like
we're
the
gonna
first
beat
thing.
you up. We're gonna beat you up every Friday from now till forever, bro. Just get ready for it. But
You know,
that's what
but
it's
you know,
about, man.
if you would see the engagement that the software does, I mean, every morning it's already my AI is already talking to people on Facebook. It's already commenting on posts, and at the beginning it was kind of dorky because I didn't have it all tweaked up right.
It wasn't dialed in.
Yeah, and it sounded kind of stupid, but we got it dialed in, and so now out of the 60, 70 conversations it does a day that I don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Mississippi woman.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Once you, if it has 60 conversations a day and it makes 2 mistakes, I don't care. I used to care, but I don't care. If all the rest are good comments, and because I've been thinking about ways to follow up with those people because I have other tools that can put those people into a category that I can soft message them through Messenger, and so there's just a lot of ways to do stuff. But um,
No, that's a great point. And one of the things that I want to encourage anybody that's watching is just put the time into learning. One of the I've been saying this recently. One of the biggest investments is in yourself, and not enough people are making the time to do that investment, right? And like we're talking about, just getting some extra skills, figuring out what skills you want to get better at, because you have options and choices with all the tools available, with all the resources. One of them being YouTube. I spend a ton of time on YouTube just looking at stuff and researching different things that I'm interested in and learning for absolutely free.
and that's good because free's good. Free's good, but you got to know where to
Why
look.
not?
So here's what I would say to a young person that's going into something that's new is instead of trying to figure out what questions you need to ask and get answered and understand something, go find somebody that has some experience under their belt and just throw what you're trying to do to them because they'll help you organize your thoughts. ChatGPT can do this too. Um, because ChatGPT, whether it's not a person, it has a lot of experiences and it knows a lot of different things and it knows how to logically answer your question. And so and give you the information you need to learn quick, fast. One of the first things that
Saves you time.
one of the first books that I ever read was a book called Accelerated Learning, and it was all about how the mind takes in stuff. You know, what's the best environment to learn in? You know, is there special music you can listen to learn faster? And so uh, you have to work on. I mean, I love reading. You don't have to do too much reading anymore because you got the internet and you have ask Chat GPT. But you have to be a little organized on what it is you're trying to do. And I'll give you a real quick shortcut for anybody that is listening to this. Everybody always wants to go from something to something, from something to something.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it a lot of different things when I was back in corporate America. They called it current state, future state. How do we get from
Yep.
where we're at now to where we want to go? And it could be anything, new cars, new systems, new things. But you have to figure out how do I get from where I'm at now to where I want to go. And so when you have that framework, you can ask the right questions. Like this year, I was telling you guys I was going to get another car, and I said, okay, I'm gonna what I need to do to start looking at that for that new car. And well, yeah, got to make more money. No, no, got to have more money. Well, because
Always, man.
they're expensive now, and plus, I never buy a new car anymore. I like used cars, uh, primarily because they're broke in, and I get to know a little bit more about the car. Um, but the and it's about a $30,000 price difference. You know, so
Absolutely.
yeah. Um, so anyway, there's a lot of stuff to be said about learning, continuous learning,
Yep.
uh, learning new skills, and don't be afraid to try.
That's it, man. That's
All
it for
right.
tonight, man. It's been almost 41
40
minutes. And this was
Right.
good, man. Mississippi woman. She wins the most engaged of the live today, man. I feel like I
Engagement.
should have a I feel like I should have a prize for anytime I go live now to just make sure that anyone who's interacting and engaging like Mississippi woman did today, she killed it. So I think I'm gonna send her something. If you're watching, you know, let me know how to get it to you. Make sure that you get a prize for this interaction for tonight. And anybody else, man, I hope you guys did learn something. Rick, I appreciate you for jumping on with me
You're
and
welcome.
allowing these guys to see something other than what I've been sharing with them for the last who knows how long. But if you haven't subscribed already, man, do so. I'd appreciate it. Hit that bell notification. I'm trying to go live every single day. That's my goal, to just provide a little bit of value here and there. Said that the live was the gift. Right? Thanks
So
for
here, yeah. So
yeah, feel free to
yeah. No,
Mhm.
no. I was just reading what you said, and like I said, to us, the reward for us is the engagement and the sharing of
Yep.
knowledge, and just um, we're actually trying to act like big shots, like we know what we're doing. you know.
We know a
So
thing or two about a thing or two.
yeah, I mean, but it's time to call it a night. But I appreciate you, Jeff, for letting me come on, and we'll talk tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thanks, Rick. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye, Mississippi woman. Yeah, right.
Peace.